So this is just an FYI. I am not a Genshin Impact professional player. I'm just speaking from my experience in game and my play style. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Without further ado, let's hop into it. What's cracking lacking, my dudes? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. My name is Kay if you're new here. The 1.3 stream has dropped. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. If not, there's plenty of things to be excited for. And there's an event coming up called Stand By Me where you have the option to pick between 6 units. This is just going to be a quick one. I'm just going to go through which character you might want to pick. So the first one is Zhang. Yeah, I think some of you free-to-play players already have her. I'm not really sure if you would want another one of her. She might be your main DPS, but I don't think her C1 is really that effective if you're going to choose her again. But if you really love Zhang, then, you know, by all means, pick her. The next one is Jinyan. Look, I personally haven't ranked up my Jinyan. I only have one copy of her as well. She's all right. I mean, she's like a smaller version of D-Look, but with less pyro applications. She's more of a physical damage dealer. She does provide a shield. So if you're looking for a Claymore user that actually can give a shield, and from what I've been told, the shield cleanses your character from debuffs as well, like those annoying prior debuff that really hinders your stamina. Look, her ult looks cool to use, but I think it's pretty short. I'm not a big fan of the ease of applying the pyro on her kit. It's a little too clunky for my liking. She doesn't really move around when you use it. It's just in that zone, so you really got to worry about your positioning. The skill damage is pretty nice though, and the energy is 60, so that's at the mid ground of ults. But if you need a physical damage dealer and a Claymore user, then Jinyan would be a good choice. If you don't have a shield unit yet, then a shield character might be beneficial on your team, especially when it comes to supporting a DPS. I, for one, have really come around shields in terms of being able to tank hits, so you can just kind of go in there and eat ass without worrying about being knocked away. The next one is Beidou, and my god, do I love Beidou. Beidou is definitely one of my favorite characters out there, mainly because of her thighs. They're nice, and she has a very interesting play style. Probably one of my favorites throughout the whole game, mainly because of the whole counter mechanic. Getting a perfect counter just feels absolutely amazing. You do a crap ton of damage for an E skill. It's a lot if you get it right. Yeah, if you're an MLG player out there and you would like a character that could be a DPS as well as can support your team, her ult's pretty good for supporting your team as well. It creates chain lightning all over the place when your unit on the field does a normal attack or charge attack. So I think with faster units, you get a lot more of these procs. Otherwise, yeah, she's a good Claymore user. Very fine unit, almost a dominatrix kind of vibe. Yeah, I would think she's a very safe pick if you're looking for a DPS or a support unit. My issue with her is that because she's a Claymore user, you can put enemies into a stagger, and when they're staggering, they're not really hitting you, so you don't get high DPS values if you're not getting that perfect counter. Sometimes your E can be a little sticky. Well, what I mean by sticky is that it's just kind of stuck in your arsenal and it's not really being used, because you obviously want to use it at the perfect time to get the perfect counter. But because they're not hitting you, you don't really get that proc or the opportunity to get that perfect counter. And just, you can kind of press it and get the lowest amount counter out there just for like an electric swipe. But the damage on that is definitely not high at all. The ult is amazing to use as well. Great for support. My only issue with that is that it has such a high energy cost, so you might need another electro unit to be a battery for her. Next up, we have Ningguang. Ningguang is an amazing unit for doing damage to single targets. I would definitely recommend her. Super strong, but she has a very unique play style. Personally, I've been messing around with Ningguang, to be honest. I've actually made her a DPS, tried her out. I am not really comfortable yet with her play style. It's a little clunky, in my opinion, with the whole attack and charge, attack and then animation cancel and all that. So she is a little complex, but she is very strong. So this is a very strong pick for a DPS unit. She definitely gets a lot stronger with more constellations. She's a Geo unit, so she's not really going to be pairing up with any elemental reactions that do extra damage. She's going to be giving you those shields. Her string is mostly just normal attack and then charge attack. Her passive, I think it's, yeah, this one here makes it so her charge attack doesn't cost any stamina, which is very ideal in managing stam. But that's kind of her string. You're doing normal attacks to get more of these jades, which will make her charge attack stronger. The screen is kind of nice when it comes to blocking projectiles, but realistically, you don't really position a fight for that, at least in my fighting. I normally use it for the extra geo damage. When you run through, you get 12% extra geo damage. So that's very handy. And her ult is, it looks super cool. Her ult is like firing all these rockets. Catch my drift there? You guys catch that? Oh man, I'm a loser. But yeah, her ult, very low energy amount, great for spamming, and it just looks like sex on the field. It is amazing just watching all those homing rockets hit units, and it's probably the reason why I ranked it up actually, just because I like to see those rockets go ham and cheese all over the dance floor. Definitely has some nice thighs, I'll tell you that. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
A little bit spicy.
Oh, and yeah, she's a catalyst user. And we also have Xingqiu on the roster of options. This character, I don't build him as a DPS. This little femboy here, definitely not a DPS in my books, but apparently he can work as DPS. You really need a sack sword on him to empower his kit. He's my favorite sub DPS. It goes so well with D-Look and along with so many other DPS units in the game. Fantastic ult. Definitely viable without any constellations as a sub DPS. Not really sure about main DPS. I wouldn't really choose this in the whole list of options you get for a main DPS. You definitely have better ones in the 6. Probably the best sub DPS, but definitely need a sack sword. Really need a sack sword for that. And as for the skills, I actually just use this as the battery for the ult. Rain Cutter is mainly what I use Xingqiu for. It is nice that you get some swords that reduce damage. That kind of works like a shield, but not really. So you do get a little more tankier out there. When the swords break with this talent, you will heal a bit with the current character in play. So it does provide a bit of healing, but I wouldn't rely on it. The ult is 80 energy, so that's a lot. So you definitely got to build energy recharge on this unit here to really maximize the ult, because the ult's where the money's at. This ult is amazing for sub DPS carries. If you got a hole in your sub DPS, this unit is a fantastic choice. Oh yeah, and you're also going to generate some swords when you use these ult. Those swords are going to be converted into extra tankiness for your main DPS, and when they break, they're going to heal. And if you don't have a copy of Xingqiu yet, you don't even have to build Xingqiu, but this Flash of Genius talent is amazing for free-to-play players. A 25% chance to refund a portion of your crafting materials when you're crafting books. It's going to go the distance for your team. There's just so much value behind this talent. I would definitely recommend it if you do not own one Xingqiu. And yeah, if you want to maximize your economy in the game, I would highly recommend Xingqiu just for this talent. Lastly, we got Chongyun. To be honest, this guy was my first DPS when I first started the game, but then I realized he doesn't pair well with a lot of units. At least I have problems pairing him with a team unless he's sub DPS, but his values, his damage values are just a lot lower. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yo, I didn't know he did that. It's like forming all the Exodia pieces. What was I doing? His damage values are just much less than the other choices you have on the roster. So I wouldn't pick him, but if you really like his kit, more power to you. He definitely looks cool. And he plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Apparently. I mean, you can't hate that. He's also another Claymore. Man, they got a lot of Claymore users on this event. At least if I was going to build this guy, he would be a sub DPS. But even then, the whole application of Melt is kind of clunky with him. I just don't think this guy has a place. Like, he has to be a main DPS. Yeah, you have to really like his kit to build him as a main DPS, and even then his values are not as high as the other characters. The aura that his E gives can be a little weird with your other units. They kind of overlap, and that can get really messy, but that's like kind of his main gig. His ult is just, it's 40 energy, so you're going to be spamming it, which is nice. Even then, I think there's just better ults out there. It just drops like 3 to 4 swords depending on what constellation I think you have with him. In my opinion, the weakest option between the 6 that you could choose. So I personally wouldn't go for him unless you really like him. So that's my opinion on those 6 characters that you guys are going to be able to choose from. I don't know when this event's coming out actually, but hopefully soon, just to kind of round out the roster. I am sure we're all excited for 1.3. It is going to be sick. I can't wait to pull Zhao. Anyway, I hope this has shed some light on some of the units, and I've given you some value and some thought behind what unit you're going to pick. This video is going much longer than I anticipated, so I'm just going to end it here. I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.